everyone. It's so good to see you again. Mark Twain has an excellent quote, and it is, "Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured." And it's true. Anger is such a terrible thing, especially if you're angry all the time. There's times where you have righteous anger, but there's times where people are just angry and they're angry a lot. And what happens is it starts to eat away at their soul. It really damages their body, it damages their mind because they're angry all the time. They don't have an outlet for it, they don't know how to express it, so they'll just blow up like a volcano, or they'll just be just spewing bitterness and anger and all kinds of things on people as they walk by. And people aren't going to want to spend time with you if that's the case. They won't spend time with me if I'm that way. So anger, there's a time and a place for it. There is a righteous anger, which we should have righteous anger. There are times where we need to, we've heard something that is such an atrocious thing, that a righteous anger rises up in us and we're demanding justice, we're demanding that things be taken care of, and we find ways to work within the system to get that in place. Those are righteous anger. But regular anger, because you're just angry all the time, you're irritated, you need to find out what the root of it is. Because it will poison you. It will eat away at you. It will tear at you. And unfortunately, it's going to tear everybody around you, but it's going to affect you the most. And we don't need that kind of thing in our life. It's, like I said, it's bitterness, it's anger, it's resentment, it's despondency. It's all these things rolled up into one, and it ends up being an agony. And we can't figure out why we're so mad all the time. We're just furious all the time. But why? Well, some of it could be because there's anger in your family and it just transfers down and just perpetuates per generation. But sometimes it's not that at all. There's a root matter that needs to be dealt with. And I want to encourage you today. I want you to find out, if you find yourself angry all the time, you need to ask yourself why. Why am I mad? Why am I so angry? Why is it every time somebody says to me, I bite their head off, or I cut them off at the knees, or whatever the case may be? You're leaving a battlefield, and it's not even supposed to be a battlefield. It's just supposed to be life. But you're constantly angry, and it just burns within you. And you need something that will change that. You need something that will relieve that pressure. Maybe you need to go hit a punching bag until all that stuff's worked out. I don't know. I'm talking about a real punching bag. I'm not talking about people. I'm not talking about animals. I'm talking about you find a place that has a punching bag and you work out that frustration. Don't let it eat up at you. You say, well, I don't have a punching bag. Do exercises, go swimming, do something to work that stuff out of your system. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself alone. You're going to find yourself angry all the time, hurting all the time, and you're not going to understand why. You're just not. So don't let these things eat away at you. Find out what the problem is and deal with it. Find a healthy resolution for it. Don't sit there and eat another pie because it makes you feel better. Don't do that. Okay? I speak from experience. Sometimes when I get frustrated, I admit it, I will eat something I shouldn't have. All right? But that's just because it tasted so good. And for that moment, but I need to deal with the root of the matter. And I want you to do the same thing. Because if we're not walking around angry, we can be so much more. And we can change the world around us for the better. You and I were created to be something so wonderful that anger is not supposed to be our main character. It can be a little thing that happens over here every once in a while, but it's not something that's supposed to be what drives us. I encourage you to take a long look today, to search on the inside and say, what is it that makes me tick and what makes me angry? When we learn that, then we can be better people. I'll give you a quick example. Several years ago, I was working at a job, and this person just kept yelling at me for no reason. They were just yelling. They yelled and they yelled and they yelled and they yelled. And I blew up at this person. I blew up at them. Got me in trouble. They're like, you can't talk to people that way. You're not allowed to talk to people like that. And I said, they stopped yelling at me when I yelled back at them, number one. And some people only understand yelling. But number two, I had to find out what it was that upset me so much. And I found out that I had a trigger for unreasonable people. And there are people in this world that are unreasonable. You cannot reason with them. You cannot tell them what you understand. You cannot work with them. They just want to yell and scream at you, because that's the only way they know that they can be heard. And I had to learn to say, okay, they're not yelling at me personally. This is just who they are. And I have to take a step back. And if it gets to be too much, I need to have somebody else take over for me, so that I don't become angry and say things that I shouldn't, or scream back, or whatever the case may be. Because I was dealing with unreasonable people. And unfortunately, when I was younger and I dealt with unreasonable people, I didn't handle it well. I didn't handle it at all, actually. I didn't know how to handle it. No one had taught me how to handle it. And I just took it on the inside, and I let it just fester on the inside of me. So one day it came a breaking point. Don't let it be a breaking point. Take it and say, okay, they're either hurting or they're just ignorant, and I'm not going to let this get to me. And I have to make a choice, just like you do. So I encourage you today, don't let that anger build up in you. Don't let it fester. Don't let it become something that's this mass on the inside of you that takes everything out of you, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, just takes everything away from you. Don't let it do that. Don't let anger be that acid. Choose a better way. I know you can, and I know that you will. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for joining us today.